All right, welcome back, you all. It's another Saturday. We're here on the Watch Dogs on our Black Media. We have a great topic today. We're talking about collaboration in the community and a lack thereof and where it goes. We got Chris with us. Chris, tell them who you are.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Chris, aka 2 Benji. How y'all feeling today? Glad to be here.
And we got Julius Popcorn Hall.
Popcorn.
There
Popcorn. Call me
There
Cracker
you-
Jack.
Oh Lord, that's racist. That's racist.
Crunching Munch. Call me Crunching Munch. If I'm gonna be a
All right.
popcorn, I'm gonna be caramel or something.
All right. But we're gonna crack a joke. We're gonna get serious. So Jamal Toure,
That was
we
cool.
send our condolences to you today. We know that Jenkins High School never has been the athletic school and never will be an athletic school. You all are the worst football team in the history of Savannah, Georgia, and we just want to send you our condolences. If you were ever like Windsor Forest, at least you would have an academic component, but you're not that either. But Jamal Toure, we still love you. What happened to them Julius last night? They got spanked, I heard.
Did they? Too
Oh,
long.
man.
45-0 with and a half. And then I heard that those flare guns?
Yeah.
They have it in the medical kits.
Uh,
Right? I heard that when somebody in the broadcast booth stepped out the door, it was such a bad beating that they fired the flare gun. Everybody started hollering gun, gun. Everybody went to running.
But the sad part about it, Chris, this is the part that really is upsetting. It was by a middle school. The Rim Middle School, I heard, did it.
Wow.
They say the Rim Middle School was the one that was beating them.
Oh, Lord.
Didn't Jamal Toure play on that team at one point? He was what the wide receiver or the defensive back?
Hey,
Oh,
and then he
man.
gonna send us something talking about we lost the game, but we've won the fight.
Well, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about what. I want to know what that graduation rate is. But I'm not gonna go to Jamal. We still love you. We know you made it through.
Oh, man.
But you're not Aphrodite Beach, you're not Savannah High, you're not Windsor Forest, you're not Savannah Arts Academy, and that's a shame. But
Hold
we
on,
needed somewhere.
You missed the #1 school in the city, dude.
Well, they're not Tompkins, Woodville Tompkins, but we needed somewhere to send the troubled children. So Jenkins, Herschel V. Walker Jenkins was the school for you. And so, but we're gonna shift gears, Chris. What happened last night was a part of what prompted today's conversation, and that is when you have a collaboration in municipalities, counties, or what have you, or lack thereof, you have issues. And so earlier this week on Candidly Keisha, we're gonna start calling it number 68, the show of 68. And Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely, they both hosted our district attorney in Chatham County. And one of the things she talked about is how collaboration works. But she also talked about the lack of collaboration in that this mayor in this city, and we're not going to focus on Savannah, but it happens in multiple cities, when leadership at a city level or a county level fails to collaborate. And in this regard, they're failing to collaborate with the district attorney. In fact, there was this asinine idea to create this stupid collaboration with the federal government, with the city, as if we don't have a DA who has common sense. And so, Julius, let's get your take on it. And then, Chris, I want to hear from you about, you were a student here, what the crime looked like and what that felt like as a student. But, Julius, what are your thoughts about this idea?
I mean, you broke up. My thoughts on what?
On the collaboration piece and the lack thereof.
Well, if anybody watched that, especially Alicia's show, Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely's show on Tuesday, you saw plain and clear the DA expressing her concerns with the lack of cooperation coming out of City Hall. He seems to want to circumvent her authority. He seems to want to act like she's make it look like she's not doing anything, and that he needs to step in when he hasn't done anything in 3 years about the crime here. And she clearly said that she's been trying to get in touch with the mayor for the last 18 months since she's been in office. And the mayor has not gotten with her. But you can see the mayor at all kind of parties. You can see him at all kind of events. Every time somebody got something free with something to eat, he steps there. Even if he ain't invited, he's there. So, uh, so it's clearly uh, him giving her the thumbs down, you know, and not wanting to work with her for some reason. I think it's to his detriment, not to hers, and because she's calling it out. He went and tried to hire well, they didn't went and hired. They went out and hired the U.S. attorney, United States attorney, district attorney, to try cases when he doesn't even have the authority to try those type of cases. Uh, don't have the jurisdiction to do it. Rather, he got the authority, just don't have the jurisdiction to do it. Um, and so she called all it out. She made it plain and clear. And I don't know, the city attorney, Bates Lovett, he must be graduated from an online law school or something.
He went to Jenkins.
Yeah, he had to go to Jenkins. 'Cause, you know, he had
look, Jenkins graduates can't even do emojis right. Look at that. Shameful.
That's Jamal Torre. Torre, you are free to come on the show.
No, you're not. You're fired.
Yeah, but Bates
Come on,
he has to be a Jenkins alumni because it was his idea, I think. They're giving $100,000 to the U.S. attorney, the federal government. They're giving money to the federal government. Much money is the federal government giving away. You giving money to the federal government to come and hire one DA to try guns, to try our gun law, our gun crimes. What sense did it make? You could have just put that same DA into the DA's office, the county DA's office, and had him try gun crimes. But it's political. He's trying to one up her or show her up. And if the DA calls you, the highest law enforcement individual in the county calls you, and for 18 months you have not sat down with her, then there is a serious problem.
Chris, you were a student here. You're not a resident. Well, you are not native Savannah, but when you were a student here, there were some issues. I would love to hear from you about what that felt like, what that looked like, and your thoughts about all of this.
So, as far as when I was being a student at Savannah State University, crime is not something that is new to me. I'm a resident of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, Adamsville, Martin Luther King, Fulton County, just that whole area. And so growing up, I was already exposed to the negative things that could possibly happen to me, the negative things that was in the environment. So coming into another city, it wasn't, I was already self-aware of the different things that could possibly happen. So my mentality coming into Savannah, because I attended Savannah State at 2017, hey, Big Blue. It was basically me going away from my home and that feeling of feeling like I got to always look over my head, look behind my back, and so forth like that. So the new area was a time for me to be able to recreate myself while still maintaining a sense of self, remembering where I come from, but knowing that I can create a new identity on myself for the better. And going to college was something that it really shifted that thought process. But I went there and some of the same things were still happening, and that it did affect me as far as like safety reasons and also just like having empathy towards others, knowing that this crime, on a surface level may just look like a robbery, but behind that it can be a person who is starving, may not have access to the same resources that another individual has, and they may not got the knowledge or education, so they resort to going to those measures because they're not aware of the other things that could possibly be going down. They ain't got somebody speaking guidance to them. So I really appreciated y'all talking about that cooperation aspect, because us, me being a young Black male growing up, but really just that youth generation, it's good that we see leaders cooperating at a high level so we know that it can still be done and that we don't got to hold these emotions and these competitive egos, in the forefront. So that cooperation aspect really plays a major part. The crime has always been there, but I really had to find my crowd of individuals and keep that safety within ourselves so that we can be able to take on what's out here, because it ain't easy.
Well, and let me offer this, you all. One of the things I was furious about last night's football game. There is no place for violence of that sort in any location where our children are located, especially football games where these young people are learning and trying to develop a skill set to be better. And you got parents out there, you got children out there that are younger than 10 years old. You got kids out there. And what I want to do to both Governor Kemp and Governor elect Stacey Abrams, y'all better figure this out, because there is a libertarian candidate that has it on his radar. And it makes no sense that you all have not talked about. I don't give a damn about the guns. I care about what are the solutions to solve this, because this is a pandemic in Atlanta and it's a pandemic in other municipalities throughout the state. Our community should be furious, because this type of violence should be equal to what was going on with COVID-19. We have been being killed and hunted for over 400 years, and we still don't get it. Now, let's bring it to a local level. I want to call out those who feel, I don't know if it's the gangs or who, the drug dealers, whatever. All of us on this platform have had our issues, but what we got to do is come to a table and have a conversation. So I want to join with the three alderwomen. I'm going to volunteer myself to sit with 3 alderwomen. I'm going to call those out who feel like you got to do violence or feel like you got to lead us treatment, whatever. Let's sit down and have a conversation. That's an invitation I'm putting out right there, because I don't have the answers, but what we got to start doing, and I think I told somebody this a few days ago, if we learn to communicate and say, hey, Chris, I got an issue with you, and this is why I'm pissed off. Or Julius, when you said this and that, this is why I'm pissed. We got to learn to communicate, because when you take a person's life, not only are you taking and impacting that family, but you're impacting yourself and another family. So now 2 families are impacted because of dumbass shit. Excuse my language, but I'm furious about this. And last night, it was uncalled for. So I just want, I know I'm going off the rail with some of my words, but I am sick and tired of this mayor in this city and this leadership in Atlanta and throughout this state for doing not a damn thing about fixing the issues.
You're absolutely correct. And we share your frustration. However, it is a conditioning that we've been going through as a Black people for a number of years. And until we see how we need to put a laser on it to correct it, like getting your eyesight corrected when you having laser surgery. We got to be able to pinpoint how we're going to start to correct this, because there's nobody addressing it from that position in leadership. Now you got leaders that are with Keisha, Alicia, and Bernetta, but you don't have the leadership that's in control addressing it the proper way. Van thought that what he should do is, the mayor of Savannah, he thought what he should do is circumvent the DA. That's not the way that you do it. You got to be able to collab with each other. If you don't have cooperation along with participation, it ain't nothing you're going to get done. We've been conditioned to be like this, to be separate and to work in silos for so long that when you get in power, you think that you're still supposed to do it. That is when you get the power to bring people together, to make everything right, to try to heal, to try to make the playing field level. But we get elected leaders that we put in there, and then they get selfish. It's all about them all over again. So it's just something that we got to change, and it starts with young people like Chris. We got to pour, so that when this cycle takes a while to change, Robert. So we got to pour into them how we want to change our whole culture, because it's a culture effect. It ain't just in Savannah.
It's throughout the state.
We look at crime in Savannah and we are outraged with it, but go to Chicago and Atlanta, or Jacksonville, It is 10 times worse in these cities.
Well, I agree. I agree. But this is what I'm saying. And Chris, I look, because you're a younger generation and then I. But in each of those cities you named, there are black leaders. I'm willing to put $100,000 that I don't even have, that not one of those black mayors has sat down and tried to put a real strategy together, or sit down with those who are quote unquote the head of these crime issues to sit down and have a conversation. Quit being scared. If you're the mayor, if you got all this big bad power, sit down and talk to folks. That's all I'm saying. I am so sick and tired of these sorry ass mayors making these excuses. It makes no sense. I guarantee you this. You sit down with the news cameras when it's time to get on there and pat yourself on the back. I guarantee you this. When it's time to fill your pockets, you sit down with the Kesslers of the world. Then sit down and solve the issue.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we've not held them accountable for doing. You got all the black pastors. They darn near kiss his butt, for lack of a better phrase. So why don't you call all these black pastors into these news conferences that you have and see what they're doing? Let's see the work that they're supposed to be doing. There's a black church on every corner in this county. A black church on every corner, and they do nothing.
Even better than that, you got Tiffany Taylor in Athens with Mothers of Black Sons. You got Robert Jordan here in Savannah with Male Dreamers. Have you sat and talked with them about how you can fund their programs? Have you sat and talked with nonprofits, or have you given them red tape on how to solve these issues? You see what I'm saying? And I'm telling our viewers right now, you know, we sit back at home and it's somebody else's issue. But when it comes in your house and you're in a coffin, what you gonna do then? So you better start taking these things seriously. Chris, what's your thoughts?
No, that's definitely real. And I do my best to try and tell individuals that same thing, because it's like, I feel like we, you know, like Mr. Hall was saying, as far as us being conditioned, and we kind of got that condition like, oh, that's just happening over there. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, that is that same mentality that they really want you to be in, so they can keep doing what they're doing. Because no matter what, whatever goes on over there, eventually that can affect what's over here. So at some point, we got to really stand up for that. And I share that empathy and that frustration with you all, because me being in the age that I am, it's like I'm in it, but I'm not in it. You know, mentally I'm not here, but I'm here physically. You know, I'm this age. I have to go through the same ranks at the school, you know, the same times like that. But I'm able to see, you know, the different distractions that's at place. So the change does start with all. And I really appreciate what Mr. Howard was saying earlier, as far as that pouring in. That's really what you got to do. A lot of these individuals, like, they you know, the vision is not there, and they have the power to have visions for themselves, but you know, they need a little bit of juice. Everybody got to get rejuiced. They even got to have some motivation poured into them with action plans, action steps. You know, if anything, I say that's the best type of thing to do. Action plans with motivation, so people got that empowerment and also the plan of what next steps to take. And then they'll start to realize, okay, well, I can't do all of this by myself. I need to actually cooperate. I need to actually talk to other people to get some guidance. You know, and that's when that, you know, that humbling aspect comes in, and they're gonna get humble and be more open to communicating and so forth like that. So, you know, I personally, I feel like things are gradually changing, but at the same time, we are still experiencing, you know, that violent aspect. You know, like somebody just had a killing yesterday, you know, a Savannah native. You know what I'm saying? Apologize to hear that. You know, and that's something, the way the media is going to broadcast that is going to try and stir up more violence and more things. So the only way to combat that, like Mr. Torrey was saying in the comments, change starts with all. Each one teach one. You know, make sure that we be in there for individuals and we don't feed this negative energy, you know, with our focus too much, because then it'll just start to place way more attention on that. And then that's what's going to be what everybody thinking is going on. No, we need to spread more light on these big things that we're doing. For example, our Black media, it is a major thing that's playing a major advocating for us people, speaking for us people. You got young people going in, big people, and they're giving out opportunities. The same thing Mr. Bryant doing, Professor Torrey. Like I was saying earlier, these are the people who we got to place our focus on and start to pump the money into, pump the people. You know, we got to actually set up some events and then place the attention on that. And I'm speaking towards the audience members, because a lot of times, you know, we got this fantasy of how we feel like things is supposed to be popularized and how that's supposed to be, and that don't do nothing but steer us away from the true goal, the unity. So, that's
You
just
know,
my take on that.
as you were talking, Chris, one of the things I thought about, I'm trying not to get heated because it makes me mad when I think about the stuff I'm about to say. This federal government, and Joe Biden, I'm coming for you now. You will send money over to the Ukraine. You will come up with, and I love the inflation package, but what about the African American package? What about helping us put money into these nonprofits that are helping Black communities? What about pumping money into identifying educational programs and programs where we can bring people to the table and conversate and have conversation around this? And I'm not talking about locking people up like Bill Clinton did with the 3 strikes you outlaw. That was I caught that too, Bill. So I'm gonna come for you next. But what about things to help us and stop hindering us and stop putting us behind the 8 ball even further? What are y'all's thoughts on that?
I seen a video earlier. It was saying that an individual was speaking, saying that America can't be a hero to every other area. Like, we have to save our own people first, and that's kind of like some of the tactics that's being taken, like trying to save people on the outside before you can even save the own people within yourself. And that is placing some type of part. So that's a controversial topic. I'd love to hear what y'all think about that.
Well, and that's absolutely true, and that's what we need to be doing. It just takes leadership to understand and recognize that if you do the things that are necessary to help people, then but you have to go to them. You can't wait on them to come to you. You know they need help. You know where the help is needed at. All you got to do is go there. Why can't you go into these communities? If you could spend $2 million putting bricks on Broughton Street, then you could spend $2 million trying to save a life on Borough Street.
Hello.
So it's just crazy that you don't put the money where it's needed. Damn a tourist. When we losing lives every day on 36th and Burroughs, 38th and Burroughs, 40th and Hardin. This area, Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles can see that this is the pressure point of this whole city where all the crime is happening at. A substation need to be there where police are walking every day. They should not be allowed to sell drugs on 36th and Burroughs openly every day. Anybody ride by can see what's happening, and there's nothing going on. See, what they do is they let us kill enough of us. They let us do enough harm, but if it was happening in Havisham Woods, in the affluent white neighborhoods, then it wouldn't happen.
Come on, not the landings, now. Y'all better not take no gun over the landings.
So I mean, we are our own worst enemy because we've been conditioned to be outside doing it in front of everybody. We think that is legal for some reason. That is hip, that we should be out on the corners doing things. Yeah, and we had a talk on the rap about why we the only people hang on corners.
Yeah. And
well, let me share this, Chris, real quick. I think I'm going to give credit to the district attorney's office in Atlanta and in Savannah. I said this for months. Our police departments focus on the wrong issues. When you have crime rates, killings, violent crime at this level, you don't need to be pulling folks over for a red light. You don't need to be pulling folks over for marijuana in their car. You don't need to be worrying about petty stuff like that. What you need to be worrying about is where guns are, why the guns are out there, and these killings. Instead, you focus on surveillances that don't matter. You focus on pulling folks over for speeding and hitting a bump. You focus on silly stuff. But yet your DAs have made enough sense to stop prosecuting misdemeanor marijuana cases. The DAs have made enough sense to stop prosecuting abortion things. Why can't y'all get the common sense in your head? At least your leadership. If the DA get it, why aren't the police department leadership getting it, Chris?
And that's I'm a firm believer. I don't believe the system is built for us to get equal rights. I feel like the system needs to be changed. Like this systematically, I don't believe that it's built to actually serve the true justice that's needed. Now, at a point, it does do the different things to keep crime limited. But when it comes to those different cases that are affecting us internally, I don't believe that it's placed out there for us to help us. So, because personally, feel I don't feel safe by police. I actually get, a weird feeling every time I see them. So I can't even speak on, too much in that protective aspect with them. But the one thing I can say, we need to change the system. I feel like the first step in doing that is, for one, placing the importance on realizing we do need to be in these positions, y'all. Like a lot of times, I know we carry that mentality. Nobody needs to vote. We don't really care about that. We keep bumping that up, and I also see that. But at the same time, if we're not doing it, who are we leaving up to play these positions and these roles? Who you think? That's why we're experiencing this stuff right now. So that's why we do need to be playing our part and making sure, okay, we got leaders over here, we got leaders over here, we got leaders, a group of leaders, some type of organization that's for departments, that polices this specific neighborhood or this specific area. Y'all connect with the people, so you value, so you know how y'all communicate. So now when you're, going out doing your different things as a policeman or as an enforcer, you're doing it with knowing that you can connect with the people the right way. So if anything, the people not going to even want to be doing no crazy stuff because they respect you as a person. But if they're not relating to you, this is somebody who's from 30 miles away. They don't even know how I live, where I come from. How can you expect them to respect you or want to listen to the different things that you're just trying to enforce them? So we need connection, but we got to rewrite that system. So we got to play a part in stepping in those forefronts. That's why I give major respect, to individuals who I do be seeing pushing the change and want to do that, stepping in them places, because they got a lot of weight on their shoulders. They got their own people thinking that as soon as they go over there, they're going to be right against them. Then they got the whole other side saying, hey, I don't even want you to change what we got going on because it's been working for us. So it's a lot on their shoulders, y'all. So we got to give, respect and that motivational light to these people in our culture that's stepping foot in those places.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. And for our viewers, we have viewers all around the world. We have 3 alderwomen that I have gained and learned, even have more respect for in our community. One is running for mayor and will be the next mayor, Savannah Keisha Gibson Carter. The other one, Alderwoman Bernetta Lanier, and Alderwoman Alicia Blakely. And let me tell you why I respect these women. These ladies, y'all, go out on one thing about me. Let me back up. I respect anybody who's not afraid to stand on their own, but they allow their frustration and their passion to do exactly what Chris said, and that is go out in the forefront, go into the lion's den and advocate and advocate and advocate. And when they get beat down, they get up and advocate and advocate and advocate. And I never got until, within this year that at the end of the day, they are advocating for their communities. They're advocating for that change Chris just talked about. And why is that important? Because since this city government was started, nobody advocated for the things they're advocating for. But you know what pisses me off, Julius, is that people that look like me and you get mad at them. Get mad at them. And that's why you got that bullshit you had last night at that football game, because you got people who resist the change that they're standing for. But yet you would stand there and side with this mayor who don't give a damn that babies could have been killed last night. That's why I get pissed off, is that people, y'all better wake up. And if y'all don't get 68 in office, you're a fool.
Yeah.
You are a fool.
That is absolutely correct, because there's a lot of things that you seen him on TV every day when they went to shooting in City Market, because he cared about the tourists. And who are the tourists? They don't look like us. And we don't want to, every time you look, bring up that it's about race, even when our leaders are the same color as us. But at some time in your life, you got to stop carrying the water. You got to start carrying. Carrying instead of carrying the water. And if you gave as much attention to outside of City Market as you do to City Market or downtown, then maybe we can solve some things. You've never reached out to the people. The thing is, we talked about this the other day too, Robert. You can't be in your feelings in politics. Anybody that can help, you need to enlist. Anybody that can help you meet whatever the agenda is, get it straight to correct something, you need to enlist them. Get out of your feelings. That's what it's all about in this city here. They work in little cliques and they get in their feelings and they don't cooperate. There's no cooperation. There's no communication. What's the 3 C's? Cooperation, communication, and collaboration.
Yep.
There's none. There is none. Period. And as much as we keep telling them that this is what they need to do, they think that what we say don't matter.
But you know, it's even worse, Julius. What I just thought about is not only that, but Keisha has fought so hard to the fact that what was the little shrimp name that told her to shut up, had the nerve to tell her to shut up. I want you to tell me to shut up one day. I'm gonna show you who's gonna shut up.
What?
But I had the nerve to tell a woman to shut up because he's less than and shorter than.
Yeah.
That's
Tell
me to shut up.
Little Short Curtis. Little Short Curtis Purdy.
Like, you mad because she's standing up and you the oppressor? That's why you're mad? That's why you're mad, Curtis? I'm gonna call you out because I am furious about what bothers me is the fact that, you know, when people try to bring light to a situation, like Chris said, when people want to put a spotlight on the issue, put a microscope on it, you got the Trumps of them all, the Van Trump people who try to divert and have a diversion or a what do you call it, a distraction. But just your people get messed up.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
And then if instead of having to say, you know, shut up, Keisha, you know, you have the same opportunity as Keisha. Argue your point. Argue your side.
He ain't smart enough.
Exactly. He's not smart enough. You're just following anything that the mayor wants to put up or anything that the city manager and the city attorney puts in front of you. Because most times it's coming from them. They just putting it on the agenda for them, like it's coming from one of the elected officials. But argue your point. Let us see whether your point has any merit. Then we'll decide. Don't tell her to shut up because she's arguing for the people. And the problem, like you said, the people don't understand that she's arguing for them. They not there at City Hall. They don't tune in. When they catch a little snippets on the news, the first thing they think is what? Oh, there she is acting up again. No, there she is advocating again. There she is fighting for you again. There she is trying to make something happen for all of us again. You know? So, you know, it's about doing the right thing. It's about collaboration, communication, and cooperation. And if we got those 3 things amongst our city officials, then we can do some things. We can change some things. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
I want to quick commercial break, you all. For those in Savannah, I want to give a shout out to Camp Park. They are doing a celebration today, so District 5 loves Camp Park. And I want to segue to this, Chris. You know, it's no secret that I'll be running for city council in District 5. Because of leadership here. Yeah, because we don't have leadership. We have someone who wants to pat themselves on the back and fill the pockets and put money to the restaurant. And I'm not here for that. How do we find real leaders, though, Chris?
And whisper.
No, baby.
Well, I
wouldn't say I'm about to say, but I'm gonna be quiet because I don't want somebody's husband to come for me. Because I'll come back for him. Find real leaders to lead in our city and in your city.
Yeah, so I say the best way to find the real leaders, they're the ones who you got to go to the areas that people at. You got to go to where the people at. And it's always those individuals that stands out. They're more so the people who's in their crowd trying to come talk to you, trying to come ask you questions, trying to come, you know, pick your brain. And I feel like the way to find it, you know, you got to be off character. For one, you got to make sure you got a vision. It's going to start with self first. Because if you're not finding no domain within yourself, then you're not going to be able to find a true leader to lead you. It's just going to be somebody filling the void. So in that sense, you need to, for one, have your own codes, your own morals and principles and values. What do you align with? What will you agree with, and what will you not agree with as a man or a woman? Then after you got that stuff figured out, then you want to look for people that's in those leadership positions or that's going for those leadership positions and see who align with you. And sometimes it's a lot of people. Sometimes that person might be right there in your friend group, but they may not be trying to be the person inside of the spotlight or so forth like that. So sometimes you got to let them know, like they're the real one. So sometimes look at the person that's right next to you. A lot of times they can possibly be that individual or that other person that's just that divine light, that guidance of light in your area. But just to sum it all up, the best way that I say to find leaders is to find individuals that align with not just the local, but align with the whole. It's a wholesome aspect, and it's being led, like Mr. Hart was saying, they don't got feelings with it. It's being led with actual leadership. So it's being led with realistic things, and they actually have a clear path that they can explain to not only a 30-year-old, but a 5-year-old as well. And they are both like, okay, that's something. So, that's the best way.
So we have Keisha Gibson Carter and 68, we were telling them they need to elect you, but if for nothing else, it's for your outfits. You bring the outfits every week.
You muted.
You're muted. But Julius, go ahead. Present Teray, Keisha Gibson Carter with the wears that she's already said and give it up to Ray. Julius, go ahead and start with the questions for our next mayor.
Oh, what question? I ain't got no questions for her.
I mean, so Gibson Carter, we were talking about Julius act brand new. You know how you do. We were talking about the DA and how the DA is very progressive in the collaborative spirit, and how she has not received that same collaboration from others, and how we see this in municipalities like Chicago and Atlanta. What's your take on that?
Well, it's simple. It's politics, right? We're living in a time and a space where the electorate across the nation has spoken loud and clear in that they desire no more investment in things, no more status quo politics, no more business as usual. But in short order, they have come back with a mandate whereby there's an expectation that we invest more in flesh and blood, invest more in our communities, and invest more in focusing time and attention to policies as opposed to rhetoric. And that's what we want to get across to our residents and our citizens is the fact that what we say and what we do are directly opposite to a policy presentation or initiative. And so we want individuals to listen less to what politicians say, listen less to what they make you think they are doing, but listen for more. What policies are we putting forth? What legislation are we proposing or initiating for consideration and ultimate passage that ultimately will change the way people live in our community? Where collaboration is concerned, for decades in our community, politicians have gone about an elected office as if they own the positions, giving very little regard to the fact that we are essentially vessels of the people. We are supposed to be listeners of their voice and doers of what they tell us to do. Politicians have gone about charting their course for careers as opposed to doing what the communities need. And that now is being exemplified in where we are here in Savannah. We, over the past 2.5 years, have experienced the most forced displacement. In the past 2.5 years, we have homelessness, increased poverty, increased crime, and increased taxes. Nothing has been representative of the people's voice where those items are concerned. And so when we bow down and humble ourselves as servants, collaboration doesn't have to be an issue. Collaboration automatically happens. So if we have experienced the rates of homicide and the uptick in the various felonious offenses in the city of Savannah, why isn't it that the mayor and the district attorney and the Chatham County commissioner and the school board president. Why have there not been collaboration? That's an indictment on leadership at all levels. We cannot afford to continue to fight as leaders. There's an old community adage that goes, when elephants fight, the grass loses. And we have a lot of dead patches of grass throughout the city of Savannah because the leaders in the community have not come together. Take, for example, our loss negotiations. Right now, the city of Savannah is under threat and losing millions of dollars in revenue if these loss negotiations are to change with regard to how much we receive from those allocations. Why is it that the county doesn't recognize the city of Savannah as a part of Chatham County where those loss negotiations is concerned? I'm not sure. Why hasn't the alderwomen at large, myself and Alderwoman Blakely, why haven't we been at the table where those negotiations are concerned? So not only do you not see intergovernmental collaboration, there's no collaboration on our very own council when you're not utilizing the talent. 11,559 people sent me to City Hall. They did not send me to City Hall to be quiet. They did not send me to City Hall to be iced out of the legislative process. And they did not send me to City Hall to not participate in the various negotiations, to not participate in meetings, to not set policy. But that's what we have. And so we intend to be a leader where we will follow the guidelines of the charter. We intend to be a leader where we will make room for every elected official from the various districts so that the voices of the citizens of Savannah will be heard across the city. And ultimately, we desire to be a leader who will collaborate with our Chatham County representatives, with our district attorney, with our state representatives, so that we can effectuate change on all levels. What's happening in Savannah is an issue for everyone within the coastal region.
Okay. And so one of the things that we kind of started with, and I just really would love your take on this, is last night, what happened at that stadium was just ridiculous. You have children, Julius has children, and Chris is like my son. But it was just ridiculous that people felt comfortable taking violence to a place where families and babies are located. What in the world is going on? And what do we do? I mean, and I would love your take on that. And then, Julius, if you could give a rebuttal, not a rebuttal, but a response to what she has to say.
That's a loaded one. We are seeing the results of the lack of investment in our community. And that's at all levels, from a school district level, from a city level, from a county level. And we also want to factor in the home life. But before we factor in the home life, we have to look at the factors that preclude individuals from engaging their children in a way in which they would not conduct themselves or behave the way that they do when they're in public. Right now, we have parents who are working 2 to 3 jobs trying to make it. How much room does that provide for adequate parenting? How much room does that provide for the adequate attention you need to pay to your children? Not a whole lot. The structural deficits that we have experienced in Savannah have, quite frankly, has been at the hand of the lack of governmental officials to drill down and pay attention to the common denominators in our community, where crime, poverty, livable wages, and affordable housing is concerned. And so while there isn't a quick fix, and while there are multiple issues that feed the equation related to what we saw play out at Memorial Stadium, there are layers of a lot of probably what happened there. I actually was at that game. It was the first game that I attended of the season. It was unfortunate to see the distress and the mayhem that played out among our children, adults, as well as seniors who were in the audience, were trampled over, was knocked over, and folks lost their children. I won't say who, but a very well-known person had his child essentially abducted and taken to the home of a person. His 10-year-old daughter was separated from the mom, and for whatever, this gentleman thought it was okay to take the child to his house and only 45 minutes later allow her to call home. Fortunately, the baby is okay and she's back with who exhibit these behaviors. If they only would understand the broader implications of behavior. And so we are dealing with a situation where children are just hope, there's no hope. And so why should you have a commitment to community? Why should you follow the rules and not engage in violence when you don't have anything else to do, when you've been essentially separated from society financially, separated from society, separated from society emotionally. And it's at the hands of leadership in our community. When I look at the young people so vibrant, it as much gave me great joy to see so many people outside of the pandemic, although we're still concerned about monkeypox. It gave me great joy to see a thriving community in beautiful weather after a rainstorm. People waited in their cars and waited in line for hours only to go into the stadium, have a seat for 45 minutes and be disturbed and have that type of interruption. Issues related to the lack of collaboration. Here again, why collaboration is important. That game was primarily staffed by not undercover, but what do you call the duty when you're off duty? By off-duty police.
Right.
Plain clothes.
Oh, by the way, Julia, she's suspended for the next show for this Teray mess.
They in uniform. But they were off-duty police officers was the term I was looking for. And I could count the number of police officers probably on two hands. That game was at Memorial Stadium.
Wow.
It was the first game of the season for one of the most popular high schools. And so there has to be more thought given to our bearing capacity. We have to know more about the litmus of who is in our community. We have kids that are coming out of a pandemic where they've been shut down, facing so many emotional and psychological issues. Here again, this goes back to being proactive. What are we doing to engage kids where conflict resolution is concerned? Why is it that we ultimately result to violence? So there's a lot to unpack in that question. And I want to first say that the officers who were there did the best they could do with the number of them that there were and with the resources that they had. But I think we are living a sense of reality when we think that Savannah is safe and free of an opportunity for those type of episodes.
Well, and let me add this, and Terrell, I want your comment on this. What makes it even worse and more impactful and more hurtful is the fact that that area, that field, is named after a prominent former commissioner who happens to be a black male. And that makes it even more sad in that Coach Holmes would not have approved of such behavior. Terrell, what's your thoughts on that?
And I'm glad to be here and glad to be with you all, and the things Too Benji was saying is absolutely on point, and so proud of the work that he's doing. And I'm going to share this with you all and my brother, I'm hit the historical context of it. And Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter, many times she'd say she want me to give some historical context to some of it. Savannah is a powder keg. Chatham County is a powder keg, but Savannah is a powder keg. This entire country is a powder keg, and we are basically acting like an ostrich. We're sticking our heads inside the sand. We're trying to ignore it, but then guess what? The wolves and the lions and everything else is going to come and eat you, and you going to be gone. The only thing going to be is your head inside a hole. And so Savannah being this powder keg, we got to think about it. And so I tell folks some of the stuff that when I see something happen, I go and say that some of this is aspects of some divine retribution. Because in my brother, when you talk about Coach James Holmes field, that field, yes. But then I go back, and when that incident did occur last night, and we joked about some of it, some of us. But then I go back and say some people don't realize that Memorial Stadium, that area over there, was taken from Black folks. That's Sandfly. They took that land. They did the eminent domain. They took the land from Black folks for other people to enjoy. And so today, do any of us talk about that? None of us talk about it. So what is happening in the city of Savannah? So when Julius talked about tourism, that the emphasis on tourism. So they take everything from us, give it to other people, and they want them to enjoy it. Since the 1960s, Captain Sam was on River Street, and Captain Sam was advertised, promoted by people in the city of Savannah for tourism, that he was the face of tourism, that he was it for tourism in the 1960s. But when they decide to realize that why do Black people have that over there and why they enjoying it, they come after us, brother. So even with that field right there, the stuff that happened, that fear that came out last night, I'm really sitting and saying to myself, even though I joked about with other people, but my mind is saying, no, this is divine retribution, divine signs coming down saying, if you don't rectify it, it's all one Keisha Gibson Carter saying, things are going to happen. And what you've been saying, Brother Robert, the same that we are ignoring it all. And I'm like saying, I'm just sitting like, yeah, you took the land from Black folks. So now Black folks, something happens over there. And again, prominent schools right there. Guess what? So you get a little embarrassed. Some of y'all get embarrassed by it, but you ain't looking at why the embarrassment came about. And that's the thing you've been throwing out there. Why does it occur? Why does it happen? Have we addressed why it doesn't happen? No, we're not. Still got our heads in the sand like the ostrich.
And that's a great question, Dr. Teray. And we can just look at the teams who were playing, right? When you say, why does it happen? Why was it that this situation broke out on the side of Jenkins High School, where there were a majority African-American families and children, but on the hill was Benedictine Military School, where everyone was in harmony, enjoying the game and the festivities, and all of the where are these people going to go home to? Where do they go to work to? Where do they play? What do they bank? What do their bank accounts look like? Where do they attend schools and colleges? And then let's do a different. It's easy for us to do that right now, Dr. Teray. Let's do it right now and look at Jenkins High School. Where do their families work and go to school? Where do the majority of those kids live? What do their communities look like? Look at the majority of the families over on BC side. I bet a lot of them live possibly in the 4th district, where sidewalks have been paid. All of a sudden, streets are paid. And still to this day, I haven't received that answer. How is it that the corridors of Ardsley Park, from Victory Drive all the way back to Habersham Street, and from Durin Avenue back down to Paulson, how is it that you have all of these streets paved all of a sudden as we are approaching election season? But look at our west side corridors.
Amen.
Deep south
District
side.
5.
Where are the lights? Where are the traffic calming measures? So we dial it down to that lowest common denominator, and then we can go up from there. We have the answer. We know what the answers are, but where are our policies? Where are the policies in the legislation that's going to speak to these issues so that we can start our way backwards? We have to tackle these issues both proactively and reactively, right? We have to react in real time and be tough on people who are having the mental deficits, who have the lack of resources. It's unfortunate. We have to be punitive. We have to tackle this and get control of those people who are committing these offenses, right? But then we have to be proactive. We have to take care of this opportunity to change.
All right, y'all.
Forced displacement. Right now, we have apartments downtown that will soon be renting. 2-bedroom apartments at Baxley will soon be rented for $4,000 a month. The residents there just received notice that the $2,300 that they're paying for a 2-bedroom is no longer good.
Wow.
And let me share this with you. I did a tour last month, and the person on the tour said, when I pointed out all of that right there, right across from Yamacraw, I said, that's segregation economically right there. And she didn't say, and the units are going for $4,000 a month. So she was already in tune and aware of what they were about to do. And so, and people looking like, and people, so since that moment on, when I take people, we walk over there, they're going to say 4,000. They're like, that's more than what we're paying in Atlanta. That's what we're paying in New York. And I'm like, yeah. And they say, Savannah, you have no rent control here. And what you said, Alderwoman Keisha Gibson-Carter, policies. I said, we have no policies in place at all for any of that.
Well, we have a lot of issues. We got a whole lot of issues. And it seems like the only place that is being recognized and broadcast is on this platform, on our platform. We're the ones that are talking about it. But what we have to do is make sure that everybody hears us. You know, where's the outrage and where's the equity of fairness in what happened at City Council with Alderwoman Keisha Gibson-Carter, with Curtis Purdy, another alderman,
Alderwoman,
telling this alderwoman to shut up. You know, you know, I can't understand it, how you can address it, Dietrich and Palumbo and Linda and Van, but when one of your own do it, you don't want to address it. It's nothing.
You're right. You're right. Ain't no ethics complaint about that now.
You know. So, Carter, what's the status on that?
So you're right. You know, we do have a lot of issues and a lot facing Savannah, and it pains me every time we have to dial it back and address issues like this. But it's important that we address issues like this, Julius, because one, where people are continuously playing politics, right? I was over it and it was done just as soon as he uttered the words out of his mouth, because it's behavior that I've grown accustomed to. Nonetheless, I realized how this affected people who heard him say what he said to me. I realized how it affected women whose voice are constantly under threat in tandem with our bodies. I realized that this was consistent with the behaviors of individuals like him and his majority on council, who only challenge me when I am speaking up and speaking out for vulnerable communities, or when I'm seeking to make government more honest, or when I'm exposing things like us raising property taxes and we don't have to. You know, that's essentially why he told me to shut up. He had telling me to shut up. But what I'm most moved by is the fact of Curtis Purdy is a police officer who is sworn to protect citizens. He carries a badge and a gun. This is an individual who serves in the status of captain on the police department at Georgia Southern University, where there are lots of women and students who look like me. And so if he possessed a propensity to tell me, a sitting elected servant who garnered 11,559 votes, and collectively I had more votes than every representative in the districts, if you do the math. And so I believe I quite possibly received more votes than he got in his own district. And so his 100 votes to my 11,000 votes telling me to shut up, how emboldened of a person do you have to be, right? And then you have to ask the question, where does he get this boldness? Well, the boldness comes from the leader. You know, Van Johnson has created a platform where he has taught Nick Palumbo and Curtis Purdy and Dietrich Leggett that it is quite all right to mistreat a woman. It is quite all right to disrespect a woman. But when that disrespect goes to the level of it. You're so comfortable with it, you now say it publicly when it's recorded during a live meeting. I was willing to let it go. But then someone sent me a screenshot of a post that Curtis Purdy made on his page very shortly after he told me to shut up. The post read something like, "Did I tell her to shut up? Yes, I did. I got tired of her." And so here's where the politics comes in. He stated that he told me to shut up because I made a homophobic comment. And I thought we were actually in the process of talking about why the Crew, an African-American owned establishment seeking a liquor license, why was they receiving such pushback? Why was it that they were receiving such pushback to acquiring their liquor license? As I was talking back and forth to the city manager, you hear recorded Alderman Purdy and Blakely going back and forth. He stops talking to her, engages in the conversation with me and the city manager, and interjects his shut up. There was nothing ever mentioned remotely close to homophobia. It oftentimes pains me when people justify that they're not racist by saying that they have a lot of Black friends.
Right.
You know, I even have a colored TV, right? You get that? I don't.
He needs a stool. He just needs a stool. That's all.
I don't particularly care for that. But when I heard him say that, and when I saw the comments, it was clear that this was a political threat. Remind you, this is the same person who filed an ethics complaint on me the first time, where he lied. And here you tell me to shut up. Now you attach to it, I uttered a homophobic statement, which never happened. It wasn't captured. It wasn't stated. And what Curtis Purdy is doing now is he's playing politics. You now are attempting to turn a demographic against me. And so it's all a game that these people play. And, it's not my position to state that I have as many gay friends as I do straight friends. It's not my position to say how much work that I've done in the LGBTQ community. But what people should see is how an individual can take a soundbite like Edward Moody and attach that to this particular story and make it appear that I'm the culprit and the bad guy when Curtis Purdy is the one who told me to shut up, as opposed to focusing on that. But if you were to Google Curtis Purdy's name, you won't see any of that. But if you Google you'll see everything related to ethics complaint. Everything that I've done for this community for over 25 years has completely been erased or zeroed out somehow. Wow. I'll take it. This isn't.
But you know what, Purdy, we're gonna start a show called Backseat Confessions. How about that?
Not Clydesdale horses.
Oh my God. Let's talk about that, Purdy. You want to come on the show? Let's talk about Backseat Confessions.
I want everybody to know that it's not so much me having thick skin, because this isn't my first rodeo. I've been down this road before. But what you should know is that you should not be looking to elect a person as mayor who will be moved by a keyboard warrior, who will be moved by, I had to say the word warrior again. I don't.
All right, don't. Bye, Teray.
I cannot get moved by individuals who hide behind social media. I'm not going to get all tore up over somebody who can't make their subjects and verbs agree. I'm not going to get because I am going to be the mayor of Savannah. I will be the mayor for those people as well. And what we will do is we will take all of this as a teachable moment. It will continue to grow me and to strengthen me and to prepare me for the journey and the work ahead. We're good for it all, and we're here for it all.
Chris, let me turn to Chris, y'all, real quick, because Chris is the one thing I like about Chris. Chris has and for our viewers who haven't known this, Chris has a healing spirit about himself through his work and through how he carries himself. How do we use that healing spirit, Chris, to to begin the work of pulling these people together. When you feel like you got to kill a person, or when you feel like you got to take someone's life, that's a lot. How do we rely on healing to get past all that?
It's you really have to you know, and I don't want to sound all holy, but I ain't gonna lie, like you gotta find God. Like you have to find God. Like it ain't no way around it, you know. And people who aren't aligned and in alignment with God, you know, they will come to a point when they feel like, okay, I need to take another life because you aren't seeing the importance of it. So I really would I highly stress that to every individual, no matter what age you are, to just get a closer connection with God so that you can find that love and that joy for yourself, so that you will begin to appreciate how important another life is. Like I don't think a lot of people understand the importance of that. And I feel like that's something that only God can help you understand, you know. And sometimes some people got to go through extreme situations to have that wake up call. And sometimes people can, you know, hear conversations like this and they're like, you know what, you know, I'm gonna tighten up. So that's really the best thing I say is to just please, you know, get a close connection with God, you know, and start to appreciate yourself and love yourself. Then you will be able to have that same appreciation and love for other individuals. And adversity makes the character. You know, I didn't come straight out the womb like this. I had experienced some very traumatic things, and I had nowhere else to look back. My back was on the wall, you know, and I had nowhere else to look but to God, you know. And me experiencing that and using that as that strength that I pull from, that I draw down from to get me through the obstacles, it helps me have more empathy for others, you know, and understanding. And that's why I'd rather be, you know, a breath of fresh air to anybody I come across rather than something that could, you know, affect them, because they could lose their life tomorrow. You know, like I could lose my life tomorrow. Like ain't no telling what could happen. So if anything, I just want to make sure that I'm a breath of fresh air to people, you know, and I would really highly recommend everybody just getting in tune with that. And even if you don't want to go that extreme religious route, start to love yourself. Once you start doing that, you're not going to put yourself in positions that's going to affect and harm you, nor are you going to want to do that to others, because you just hurting another version of yourself, you know. But that's what I leave that right there.
That's powerful. Terrell, I want you to add that. You're hurting another version of yourself. Talk about that.
Well, one of the things, my brother, is this. I tell folks in particular now, and I'm going to let you all know, I am talking about African people, regardless of where they are, from Canada to Argentina. If you see a Black person over in this part of the world, so again, that means that somebody in their family survived an arduous journey that no one has ever seen in the history of mankind or humankind before. No one has ever seen that. So for the person to be sitting here on this show, standing up, eating a salad, eating a steak, or checking out the show, that means if you're Black, that means that at least one of your ancestors survived. That means that only the best of the best survive. And so because of that, the best of the best survive, that means that you are a descendant of the best of the best. So when you understand that, you carry yourself totally differently. You treat yourself differently. You expect more from yourself and from your brothers and sisters, and expect what you desire for your brothers and sisters for yourself. That's what you want. That's what Coach Carter even trains and teaches to everyone at 2717.
So he just wants you to go light on them next week. That's all, Coach. He just wants you to go light on them.
They go, my man. That my man.
Hey, that's gonna be 68 plus 1. 68 plus 1.
But was I not talking? I was addressing your question. That again, when the best of the best. So what happened? When I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I see myself, I love me. So guess what happened? So when I go to Coach Carter and he got me down on the floor doing all type of stuff, I look at him and I love him because I love me.
Right.
Because I know that he loved me too. See, because that's how, because again, but then guess what? If I wake up in the morning and I ain't feeling myself and I see Coach Rob DeLoach, I ain't feeling him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be apt to do something to him because I don't like me.
Wow.
Because I don't like me.
Really saying something real.
Guess what? And I don't like him, then I will destroy him. And guess what? And we do that to many of us. That we don't love ourselves. And so
Yeah.
if you ain't loving yourself, you can't pass that on to other people. And so you look at somebody else being your enemy. You want to destroy them. You want to cause harm to them because you got pain in you. And so that was Benji saying, when you are healed, when you love yourself, guess what? You know how to spread that love to other people. And you make it infectious. But that's just like that hate. That hate can be infectious too. And sometimes that hate has been given to us by other people. Who taught you to hate yourself?
Wow.
Amen.
That's right.
Wow.
You've been taught that over a long period of time. I just wanted to, before Sam walk away, was to show, and this is just most times you're lucky that we are showing some restraint, because most times when a man tells another man's wife to shut up,
oh Lord, don't do it, Julius. Don't do it, Julius.
Those
don't do it, Mabel.
Right so
Purdy, I dare you to say it now. Say it now, Purdy.
That you got to understand, your words can sometimes bring on pain. But good thing that my good brother right there is one that practices restraint, because
he got
we're going to address it in the ballot with the ballot. But I just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything you wanted to say, is it, Mr. Carter?
You messy as hell, Julius.
We're gonna win. And the best way to show is
Hold on, Sam. Hold on. What'd you say, Trump? Purdy, you're fired.
Go ahead, Sam.
We're gonna win. And we we're winners, and we surround ourselves with winners, and people win, and we're gonna win. And we just the one thing that I have to remind my wife. Ultimately, we have to secure. We win. We're going to win. At the end of the day, we're going to win. And then you point to the scoreboard. When it's all done, then we just point to the scoreboard. We don't have to talk. We don't have to say anything. We have to do that. We just
That's
point.
Correct. That's correct.
We're going to win.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. Well, your wife was real.
We already won.
That's right.
And Coach Sam Carter went to baseball camps at Herschel V. Jenkins High School. All the way to Carter, she walked the halls of Jenkins High School.
That ain't what she said earlier, though, Jamal. That before you got on.
Alderwoman, we know that we glad that they didn't bring the hood out in you, and that you were poised to just sit back and say, "Really?" We commend you on that.
Well,
you're right.
To that point, it's I'm not sure what hood you are referencing, but
he's talking about when you take the earrings off and you start putting that point up.
I am the same who has advocated for this community for over 25 years now, nearly 30. I'm the same person who helped victims of domestic violence. I'm the same person who helped victims of rape and child molestation. I'm the same person who mobilized the faith community to galvanize and provide support to homeless families with children. I'm the same person who helped members of gangs and our youth who are vulnerable and victims of gun violence. I'm the same person who has fed seniors who are nutrition insecure. I'm the same person who have created events that are still being taken place today, raise millions of dollars for nonprofits throughout this community. And so there is nothing I have done on council. There is nothing that I in my service that will paint me to be a villain, except for the madness of the media and the messiness of the messengers who send it. And so I can't compete with the airways. I can't compete with the ink and paper that's owned by our Savannah Morning News. But what I can do is I can continue to go forth with the same vigor, the same passion, and the same commitment that I've always had to this community. And in the end, what people think of me is none of my business, good, bad, or indifferent, because I always remember that a pat on the back is the perfect position for a swift kick behind. So I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for Savannah for my entire career. That's to love her, to serve her, and to advocate for her.
That's awesome. And when I say hood, I meant, the culture for what we don't let people talk to us in any kind of way. Not
well, and to that point, I've been accused of hitting pocketbook. I've been accused of cursing people out, and I've been accused.
Where do we see him in Walmart though?
Shut up. That's like that's nothing more egregious than an adult telling another adult to shut up than spitting on them. And so,
baby,
about my person that didn't cause me to go down to the end of the podium and hit him with my purse or to, curse him out. But as I stated, it didn't happen before. It didn't happen when he told me to shut up. I just brushed it off, and we'll keep going. And I'm human, and I have to. People cannot expect me to stand up for others and not stand up and speak up for myself. So
Correct.
if challenge and if I'm in a manner which is disrespectful, I'm going to address it. And it's people can judge me more harshly than others. That's okay. But for those who understand, I appreciate it, and I live by the motto of for those who matter, they won't mind. And for those who don't matter, it was never on my mind. So we're good for it all.
You're right. And this will be our last topic, Julius. Trey, I was thinking through, this last moment. What is the difference? And this is about to be a powerful one. Julius, you answer too. What is the difference? Well, let me back up. We had Reverend Mitchell, who one of his major pieces that we remember was advocating for MLK Drive in Savannah, which was supposed to be 37th Street. We had a particular mayor at that time that pulled the okie doke, right? And changed the plan. So with that, and talking about the okie doke, what's the difference between Rosikis and his current mayor?
Who you want to answer that first?
Teray, and then you, Julius.
Boy, you are good. You are good.
Hey, that's why I Watch Dawgs, Julius. Hey, number one show in Savannah.
You are good.
I heard, but before you question, Dr. Teray, I want to remind you, I heard that former mayor Rosikis was an alpha also. So
now you suspended for a week. Candidly Keisha's suspended for a week. Chris, write it down, Chris. Suspended for a week.
Okay. Well, what I would go and say is this: that you have a Black community that was supportive of a mayor, and people were entrenched in supporting the mayor, and they went along with it. And what contributed to it was the lack of voter education. That voters did not understand how to look at this person that's in that seat. How should they be benefiting us? And what we often got, they got the votes from us. They got the votes from us, from our community. But then what did the community benefit? And what happens at times is that you have people who are not necessarily the masses of the community, that you have people who are affiliated with the mayor who got benefits, who look like us, but it wasn't the masses. And so with regards to that, it's like, where do we stand right now? I tell folks that, where have we seen the creation of new Black millionaires with regards to us having elected officials? That's why I'm saying again, and it's not just this man right here, and this is something that I've been sharing long before this mayor, but I say with other mayors. We've had Black mayors, Black county chairmen. We've had Black DAs. We've had Black fire chief, Black police chief. We've had Black city managers. And there were no Black millionaires, new Black millionaires created in this city. None at all. That we've had school boards. Again, we're right there. We have not seen the creation. So all of this is just actually still a continuation. The previous mayoral election and automatic elections, what people really thought it was going to be a wave, that we finally now have saw what should have been the case from Rosikis to Floyd to Otis to Edna, and even with Eddie, that we were not going to finally see, because now we're the majority of the city, and that we're now finally going to see something happen. That we have finally, with this election that occurred with Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter and the others, we have finally thought we had arrived. But then what we discovered, we had not arrived, because something I had also shared with people too, that when you feel beholden to other people, you think that they are better than you all the time. And so that's what you're going to look at, because some of the people, they still feel beholden to other folks. as opposed to looking at themselves and seeing the greatness within themselves. And it goes right back to the same question you asked me earlier. It's about why do we have them? I said about them with too Benji about the healing. When you love yourself, you see the greatness in who you are. And you don't even have no fear about it. And then you're going to make sure that you're going to look out for your brothers and sisters when you're not in positions of power. And so it's not just the mayor, but it's the other aldermen and alderwomen who do not support what the efforts that have been going on by Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter, Alderman Bernetta Bryant Lanier, and also Alderman Alicia Miller Blakely. Because as I tell folks, if they lived here, grew up here, and they've seen the pain and the anguish as a child to now that they are adults and they are married, you're going to tell me that I should not speak out against that and I need to bring about change? I have a right to do that because that's human dignity and human respect. But guess what? Going back to John Sykes and all the others, the Black community in many cases have been lulled in not respecting themselves. And so that's what we're dealing with right now, even today. And when will it end? We need to end it next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your thoughts,
Julius? That's pretty good, Torre. That was pretty good. It was a endorsement without the endorsement. But
that's an endorsement. I want to say that what he just laid out is exemplary of what we have been discussing since our time on council and in our groups. This city has been led by African leadership for decades, in excess of 4, right? At almost every level, and almost at every level at the same time. Black police chief, Black DA, Black mayor, majority council, Black county commissioner, majority commission, state representative, Black judges. And what has all of that Blackness got us, or anyone? And this is the biggest misnomer. This is why I want us to focus less on race and focus more on elitism and classism, because that's really what's killing us. And we talk a lot about what the white man is doing without actually acknowledging that it is the Black man that have paved the way for the white man to do what they are doing to our communities. These Black politicians have sold this community out in exchange for a maxed out campaign contribution of $25 to $28. They've sold us out to a dinner at Chatham Club. They've sold us out to a lease for a Mercedes or BMW. They have sold us out to a ride on the private jet. They've sold us out to an addition on their home. And there's a continuation of this. And so when will this stop? This will stop when we stop relegating our friendship, relationship, and kinship to people who went to school with my daddy, or who played the piano at my grandmama's church, or who tells me that my blue gray hair is pretty and I like your potato salad. Like, we got to come outside of all of that to save this city. I'm telling you, in 2 to 4 years, these people who think they are settled and sanitized in the false sanctity and security of their brick home, their 2-car garage with their 4 to 5 bedrooms, their kids in private school, you are also under threat. And so we have to be about our brother's keeper if we want to save this city. And so when we look at the landscape of leadership in this city, recognize, as I stated before, this is the assessment of the districts, of the 6 districts, which are the 2 most vulnerable of the 6 districts: high in poverty, high in crime, most Black, most underrepresented. 2 quick answers, please. Which districts are there?
And we changing 5 very soon.
1 and 5.
1 and 2.
Be alive, baby. Watch what I tell you.
Of our current council, who are the longest serving older people on our council? What districts do they represent?
1 and 5.
Bye-bye.
Mayor and 5.
I had said 1 and 2.
All 5 of them.
I had said 1 and 2. I had said 1 and 2.
You were wrong. So go ahead, Keith.
Right, you're wrong. That's that Jenkins High School education. I'm sorry.
Toss-up. It's not even a toss-up in that regard, Dr. Touré. It's 1 and 5.
Bye-bye.
at the people who have been leading this community the longest, and you see that they represent communities that are of the greatest lack, like really, it doesn't take Ray Charles blind and dead to see what we have here, people. You know, Savannah can get whatever she wants. Savannah can get whatever she wants. She just has to speak on it. And if she remains silent, in short order, the people who were born here, live here, grew up here, graduated high school here, raised their babies here, you will soon be commuting in from Pooler, Port Wentworth, Garden City, Effingham, Guyton, Richmond Hill, and a little bit beyond that, you're not even going to be able to afford to live in those places. And what's going to happen to the local churches? People are not going to continue to commute to your church. The folks who are populating your pews will be moving to those communities. In short order, they will not be coming back into town to worship. Your church will choke and die. And just like in Nashville, they are turning churches in the surrounding communities into entertainment districts.
Yeah, they are.
What?
And Airbnbs.
Yeah.
But to answer that question before we go off the air, because we don't have
Yeah, because you like to talk, so come on now, wrap it up.
No, Jamar took over and then Keisha took over.
No, they did not. Don't tell a lie.
You asked me a question I have not had a chance.
No,
to
you are.
answer.
Keisha answered it for you.
I'm
Next
gonna
question.
I'm gonna tell you the difference between Van and Rosicus.
Okay, 30 seconds.
There is no difference except color, and the little slight difference is both of them attend every bar in town, but Rosicus would get drunk and Van won't.
Lies.
Van,
We were talking about my friend,
took a
brother.
bag
He
of
drank.
money. Rosicus took a bag of money to the preachers and to the bar owners and everybody.
Where's Jamal Terrell go?
You know, Van.
You don't talk about his frat brother. His frat brother drank.
He's talking about two of his
So
his frat brothers.
you breaking up.
We was talking about two of his frat brothers, so he had to go.
You so messy. You ain't got to be like that. That's why Susan Weiner was an AKA. Nah.
Anyway, I think a great conversation that we had. We'll try to get back on it,
but no,
and get some other thought from other leaders. We probably need to get the chairman here from the Chandler County Commission. We need to get Alicia Miller Blakely here. I know the mayor's never going to come, so we can question him. Maybe Jamal can get him on the show or something, since they're frat brothers.
Fair, you invite him. To be fair, you really should.
Yeah, he's not going to come.
Folks, also, Julius, that Stacey Abrams is going to be in town and to meet with young men. And I want people to really look seriously at that opportunity and listen to what we've said here today and recognize do not go talk to a politician who's running for elected office without an agenda. Have an agenda, have a written agenda to her, and you hold her accountable if she is to be elected. That's how we play that game.
And I challenge Brother Torre to come up with this Chatham Black Symposium that we need to have, so that we can
you in charge of ATR?
So we can not only talk about crime, but we can talk about the state of the Black community here in Chatham County and create a Black agenda. All right. We talked about it, but we have not worked on it yet. So it needs to be done. We need to stop talking all the time and let's work. What you say, Robert?
All right, we're gonna give a last comment to the young person today. We always give last comments, but the youth matter, and we want to respect that. And so, Chris, today you are the youngest one besides me, but we're gonna get we're seriously the youth today. I want the youth to hear this because, Chris, I know it's in my spirit that you really about to say something nice. I want our young people to see what you see on the screen today. Our advocates, stop the killing. Let's talk. Let's bring it to the table. Whatever the issue is, we can solve it. But Chris, leave us with closing thoughts today.
Yeah. So really, just to really say what you said. Communication, y'all. Let's talk it out. Let's talk. You know, because if anything, it's not even hatred. You know, it's really admiration. it's really like, dang, I really want to kick it with you. I really want to be with you. But something that I've been trained is allowing me to really want to hate you rather than just to love you. And that dials back. So let's really start loving ourselves again. Let's really start that process, you know, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? That starts with just simple steps, you know, taking simple steps. It don't got to be a major step. You don't got to become Malcolm X tomorrow, you know, but what you can do is start to at least look them up. You know, look up to people that's doing them type of things. You know, then you start to become the change you want to see. But it all starts from communication. Look in the mirror. You know, at least look in the mirror about 3 to 5 times a day. I am happy. I am joy. I am light. Speaking affirmations, just simple steps like that you don't got to put a whole bunch of money down to. You ain't got to do no extra stuff. And that will start to build such a big repertoire within you. That's gonna be the real deal change you needed, because I'm telling you, it's a lot of weight that we carry. It's a lot of weight that you carrying. It's a lot of weight, but you don't have to hold that weight. You don't have to be what they're trying to tell you. You don't have to be your past. You don't. You feel me? It's a lot of freedom that exists right here in the present moment. So the main thing that I'll leave everybody today is just to spread love. You know, spread love. Spread love. It all boils down to love. Love.
All right. See y'all next Saturday. Have a great weekend.
I like that.